Literally, you could put this. Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with our meeting. If we can just stand and do a pledge. And I'll lead us in the pledge. Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Fowler. Commissioner Trejo.
Here. Are they on? Here.
Commissioner Shell Williams.
Here.
Chairman Springs.
Here. Any communications from staff?
Yes, Chairman, just one correction in the minutes. Commissioner Fowler's vote was listed as a no, and she actually abstained. So just want to make that correction for the record. Also, item 6A, the applicant requested a continuance to the July 3rd Planning Commission meeting. This concludes staff's communication.
So that's a continuous until July 3rd? A day before 4th of July? Just asking. Okay. Public comments. Any person wishing to address the Planning Commission on any items on the agenda except for the public hearing may do so at this time. Hearing, seeing none, we're going to close that segment. I'd like to get an approval on the minutes for May 1st, 2022, 2024.
22. I move approval.
Second.
It's properly moved and second that the minutes for May 1st, 2024. Call for any questions. Hearing none, we'll call for our vote.
Commissioner Fowler.
Aye.
Commissioner Rice.
Aye.
Commissioner Trejo.
Aye.
Commissioner Shell Williams.
Aye.
Chairman Springs.
I'm sustained. I don't think I was here. I wasn't.
Right, you were out.
Since we don't have a public hearing, I'm going to bring it over to the staff. I think they have something for us.
Yes, that is correct, Chairman. Chairman Springs and members of the commission, the city of Inglewood is embarking on a journey of preparing a technical background study and vision statement that will serve as the catalyst for a comprehensive general plan update. The city last comprehensively updated the general plan in 1987.
Wow. That's quite a while ago.
I was 5. I mean, and while a number of the elements have been updated since then, the city has not revisited updating all of those elements at the same time since then. This is an extremely significant undertaking, and your role in this process is extremely important. And so As we're embarking on this journey this evening, our staff has put together a general plan overview, kind of a one general plan 101, so to speak, so that we can kind of begin to prepare you for what's to come, hopefully in the first part of 2025. And so, what exactly is the general plan? The general plan is a required document that outlines the vision for the development of a city. The general plan provides goals and policies that plan for the future growth. And the general plan is comprised of 8 elements. Those elements include the land use element, safety element, environmental justice element, which was one of our newly adopted required elements, the circulation element, housing, conservation, noise, and open space. Our staff is going to come up and give a brief introduction to those elements, why they're important, and what the next steps would be for the update of this and the preparation of this document.
Good evening, Chairman Springs and members of the Commission. The Inglewood Land Use Element presents a long-range plan for the distribution and future use of land within the city of Inglewood. It analyzes existing and future land use requirements and proposes implementation techniques. It provides a framework upon which the development of public and privately owned land can be based. The land use element is the most traditional of the general plan elements and contains policies for guided urban growth and development. Fundamentally, the land use element embodies policies as to how development should proceed in the future, recognizing local objectives and accepting principles of health, safety, convenience, economy, and the general amenities of urban living. The land use element promotes fiscal responsibility by proposing efficient methods to support growth and creating a future land use pattern that efficiently utilizes Inglewood's natural resources. The element covers goals and objectives, the city's population growth, characteristics, and projections, the present utilization of the city's land inventory, the pattern, intensity, and timing of proposed future land uses, and the tools with which to implement the proposed land uses. The land use element depicts the city's fully developed. The safety element. The purpose of the safety element is to plan for the welfare and safety of the citizens of Inglewood and their property, and to protect the community from any unreasonable risk associated with a variety of natural hazards. This element focuses on preparedness for mitigation response to natural hazards, especially concerning those individuals with access and functional needs. Hazardous materials and waste management are also discussed. The element provides goals, policies, and implementation actions to mitigate and protect the community against associated impacts of hazards. In addition, the safety element is closely related to the City of Inglewood's Hazard Mitigation Plan, which plans for mitigation of hazards in more detail and is required for access for federal and state financial assistance programs. The HMP and this element discuss specific hazards with a high likelihood of occurrence of high impact severity that could potentially affect the City of Inglewood, including earthquake, drought, and climate change hazards.
Good evening, Chairman Springs and members of the Commission.
Just really quickly, before Angel presents, we're going to make this presentation available to you as well for your record. So you don't have to take such
I have to
meticulous
take
notes.
notes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You
We'll
saw
make-
us
It helps.
scribbling on.
Helps me remember.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, Chairman Springs, members of the commission, I'll be presenting the environmental justice and circulation elements of the city's general plan. In 2016, the state required all cities and counties with environmentally sensitive communities to address environmental justice as a topic within their general plan. Jurisdictions are required to adopt either a standalone element or address environmental policies throughout the general plan within other elements. The environmental justice element ensures that residents have a say in decisions that affect their quality of life and will address disproportionate impacts of environmental justice communities in order to ensure an equal distribution of resources. The environmental justice element outlines the environmental challenges facing the city of Inglewood, which include pollution and housing affordability. The environmental element is concluded by the goals and policy section that covers the topics of public engagement, land use and the environment, mobility and active living, access to healthy food, healthy and affordable housing, and public facilities. The environmental justice element was first adopted by the city in 2020. The circulation element has been a mandatory element since the requirement of the general plan. The element is a strategy plan for addressing infrastructure needs for the circulation of people, goods, utilities, and communications. The circulation element must correlate with the land use element, and its primary purpose is to require the consideration of adequate street access and traffic capacity for actual and future land use needs. The city's circulation element is comprised of the circulation plan, which includes street classifications and improvement needs. The circulation element also covers alternative transportation systems like rail and bicycle routes, and designates traffic routes such as for truck and public transit. Finally, the city's circulation element establishes policies regarding the various aspects of the city's public right-of-way or street environment. The circulation element was last updated in December of 1992. Thank you.
Will it be a question and answering period once everything is completed? Should take notes then.
Good evening, Chairman Springs and the Commission. I'll be discussing the housing element and the conservation element. The housing element is a blueprint for facilitating the development and rehabilitation of housing units for all income levels throughout the city. The housing element is required to be updated every 8 years. The element is a plan that establishes goals and objectives to support the future residential development within the city. The element utilizes zoning, development standards, and city programs to guide the development of housing to meet the city's projected housing needs during the 8-year lifespan of the document. In 2023, the city's housing element was adopted and deemed compliant by the state's Housing and Community Development Department. The conservation element is a plan for conservation, development, and utilization of natural resources found within the city of Inglewood. These resources include water, soils, natural gas, oil, and air. The 5 areas of conservation within the element are oil and gas production, water production and the provision for domestic use, stormwater runoff and wastewater, hazardous waste and solid waste disposal, and air pollution. This element was last updated in 1997.
Good evening, Chairman Springs and members of the commission. I'm covering the open space element portion of the general plan. The open space element of the general plan was implemented by the city first in 1973 and last updated in 1995. The goal of the open space element is to provide recreational facilities to all residents of Inglewood. Due to the city not having any beaches, forests, lakes, and other natural resources, the emphasis of the open space element focuses on city parks and non-parks. Non-parks are visual relief from urban areas, such as plazas, landscape boulevards, parking lots, and green belts between buildings. The city of Inglewood is densely developed, which creates challenges when planning for the implementation of new parks. The plan does an analysis on the existing open spaces, such as parks, commercial spaces, and parking lots that can benefit from enhancements. Examples include landscaping edges on existing parking lots to soften the look of the pavement and the asphalt, upgrading existing facilities at parks, and providing street trees on streetscapes across the city. The target set in 1995 was to provide at least 1 acre of open space for every 1,000 residents in the city. The 1995 plan also stated that the city at the time was short of its target by 34 acres in providing that 1 acre per 1,000 residents. It acknowledges that residents from the surrounding cities use parks in the city, such as Hawthorne, LA, Lenox, and that there are surrounding parks outside of city boundaries that are also used by Inglewood residents.
Good evening, Chairman Springs and members of the Commission. I will be presenting the noise element. The noise element identifies noise-sensitive land uses and noise sources and defines areas of noise impact for the purpose of developing programs to ensure that Inglewood residents will be protected from excessive noise intrusion. Key components of the element are the various noise issues in the city that need to be addressed. So there are 3 key components. The first component is transportation noise control, which includes freeways, major arterials, collector roadways, industrial plants, and aircraft. The second key component is noise and land use planning integration. This includes information relating to existing and future noise environments within the city. The city may then include noise impact considerations in development programs. This key component includes compatibility guidelines as well as noise standards for new developments. The third key component is community noise control for non-transportation noise sources. This includes land uses such as residential and even some commercial and industrial centers. Other key components include goals and implementation in reducing noise issues in the city. The noise element was last updated in 1987. So where are we now? The city is in the process of working through technical background work and analysis that will shape the general plan update. This technical analysis will include history and culture, population and demographic, the built environment, infrastructure, public services and facilities, the natural environment and noise, and economy and jobs.
So in order to provide a robust blueprint for the future of Inglewood, the community must play an active role in this process. In doing so, community members, stakeholders, along with this body and the council, will provide a vision for the next 25 years, which is what the general plan update would, the lifespan that it would cover. That in community engagement process comes by way of stakeholder meetings and interviews, pop-up at local community events. We'll have a tent at the Inglewood Music Festival at Darby Park. We're excited about that. It's kind of our kickoff. We'll be actively handing out flyers at the Juneteenth celebration on Father's Day. There's a creation of our general plan update website, social media activity and content creation will be a part of this process, which also will engage other members of the community. We'll also be hosting community workshops where people can sign up on our website, and we'll be providing that information at a latter date, and as well as providing additional planning commission overviews through this process. So at the end of this study, we're expected to have it completed by the end of the year. We'll provide a document for the commission and do a presentation. It'll be a receive and file. And your input through this process would be extremely important as it's going to shape the growth of our city for generations to come. This concludes staff's presentation, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. We're going to open it up for questions for you for each and every individual who actually did a report. So if we can get the slides back up again, that way we know exactly which ones we want to ask questions about. We're going to start off our questions with Commissioner Shaw Williams.
Yeah.
You have any questions on the general plan, the 8 required elements of the general plan?
Yes, I do. So my understanding is that you're going to involve the residents in the overall planning of this. Will you be doing signups to get these residents involved? Like you said, you're going this month to the music festival at Darby and the Juneteenth celebration. So that's how you're going to get the residents involved?
Yes, we have kind of a marketing plan and a rollout that will be taking place over the course of the next few weeks that will point residents to our website where they can sign up, where they can get on the e-blast list. We'll be sending out invites. We'll be handing out cards that have surveys attached to them with QR codes that'll pull up the surveys. And so our goal in this process is to meet people where they are, right? To help to be as transparent as possible, but also to continue to build trust in the community about the growth and the future growth of our city moving forward. So through all of those different activities, the community will have an opportunity to sign up for some of our workshops, and hopefully they'll be well attended. And we may have to have multiple in a day in order to meet the demand. But that's what this process is about, and we're really looking for ways to be creative in that approach. Again, so that we can meet people where they are, whether it's via social media, via our website, at the schools in the community. That's where we are. That's where we're going to be, so that we can maximize our visioning for this process.
What about a senior who doesn't have access to computers and they want to be involved? How will you guys handle that individual who wants to be involved, but they don't know anything about using a QR code or an email? How are you gonna...
So we'll have printed materials as well. We will make our presence felt at the community, at the senior center, and be able to work with the advocates there to reach, and that's a part of the stakeholder process, right? Mm-hmm. So the stakeholder interviews are important because not only do they provide a window into the community, but they also provide information as to how to reach their networks, right? And so as a part of those stakeholder interviews may include members from the senior center and their advocacy council that could then provide us with the best practices as to how best to reach that community, right? And what ways have they found that they were able to get the most responses in any of the activities that they've been having, there or at the senior center or abroad.
That's interesting because, as a commissioner, I'm always getting addresses, particularly with my neighbors. I mean, I'm looking at the safety element. One neighbor approached me and said, "Cheryl, you need to call someone about these coyotes walking up and down the street." And I'm like, I wouldn't know who to deal with on that, honestly. Who do you call when a coyote's hanging out in your neighborhood?
That is animal control, but that's a tough sledding. I had to deal with coyotes when attacked my dog, and had to try to figure out how to get who to call, who to get to come out, and they they wouldn't come out.
Right.
You know, it's a arduous process with these coyotes. But again, that's something that would be addressed in the safety element in the next go around, because you know, as it mentioned, the safety element addresses man-made hazards as well, right? And so, you know, the prevalence of these coyotes now within this urban area is a product of, you know, fires and
Right.
and some natural disasters that have taken place in other areas of the county. And so, you know, they kind of now are meandering into the community. And so, you know, those are some things that we have to look at and examine. I'm not, you know, that's a part of this background though, this study that we're doing, and we'll be able to make those notes, and we can address it in the larger document.
Thank you, Mr. Crumbly.
thank
Thank you. No further questions.
Commissioner Trejo?
Before I go into some more detailed questions, I would like to see, in addition to the presentation that we saw on the screen, the comments by each of the staff members that are handling the individual elements. We'll be getting those also, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll add it to the.
I'm
We
sorry?
will add it to the handouts.
Because what they presented had a little more detail than what is up on the screen. Did I hear you correctly when you said that you're going to have a document at the end of the year to the commission, the end of this year, 6 months from now?
That's correct. That's the plan. We're working diligently. Just Art, the city's hired a consultant, PlaceWorks, who we've been working very closely with to do the heavy lifting and drafting the document. And, you know, staff is working hand in hand with them to ensure that we're able to meet our project deadlines and get the document presented. So, yes.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking that, because, I mean, you've got 8 elements. Are you going to present all 8 elements at the same time to, like, the community workshops and the other get-togethers that you mentioned? Because to me, I know each of the individual elements sometimes can be very confusing, and perhaps we as commissioners understand it a little bit better, but when you get senior citizens in the senior center, and you mention to them the conservation element or the open space element, how are they going to know what you're talking about? 'Cause
Yes.
it can be confusing.
Yeah, so as a part of this visioning process and this technical background study, we're really going into the community and educating them on what the general plan is, which is how we got to where we are tonight, right? And so we want to just be able to first educate, very similar to what we did with the housing element. So we're going to be providing some general plan 101 videos, right, where we just explain exactly what this process is, what this plan is. And then you have to also understand that once we commence this update, this is a 2-year long process, right? It's not something that's going to happen overnight, right? This document that we're preparing has been in the works for already 6 months. And so we're basically building the foundation for what will eventually become the skyscraper, right? The SoFi, right, of documents, which is the general plan. And so that's what we're doing right now with this technical review and this analysis. And so, and that's again what brought us here tonight, was just to be able to reintroduce you to what's gonna be coming down the line. And so, to your point, we'll have focused groups where the seniors and the community members would be able to have a better understanding of exactly what we're doing at the time we get to the update. Like right now, we're not at the update stage. We're at the very beginning stages of it. And so if you picture it as a marathon, we're on mile 1, right? And so, you know, we're just getting started. Yeah.
Okay. I commend you for that, because, and I know it's necessary. I know it's part of the state requirement, but I think it's going to be a challenge. So I think it will be a challenge to educate a lot of the residents, because, you know, having been on the commission for a long time, I recall some of the workshops and some of the presentations, and the residents they've gone to a workshop, But when it comes to a meeting where you're discussing everything that took place in the workshop, they'll say, well, you didn't discuss that. You didn't tell us anything about that. So that's why I'm bringing that up, because I know that you're going to deal with that again. And I think even more so because of the developments that have taken place. I think you have, personally, I think that there will be a number of questions as to what are you doing with the housing, and you're providing more opportunities to the entertainment district, or things like that is what I foresee. But
Absolutely, and part of the reason why we're really pushing in the video component, right, is that it lives on. A lot of times you go to the community meetings, and like you mentioned, once you walk in, it's information overload, and so much is being presented that you walk out of there and you're like, wait, what just happened, right? But when you can go on to YouTube and pull up the City of Inglewood General Plan Update or City of Inglewood General Plan, and a video pops up that serves as a reminder of exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it, I think then that helps when we get to your body, we get in front of you, or we get in front of council, and then there's a frame of reference, and there's something that people can point back to. And you can always point them back to the videos as well. Hey, you know what? If you go to the YouTube, we have a video that explains exactly what we're doing and why it's so important. And so those are the elements and things that we're trying to do to go a little bit above and beyond what has been done in the past. Right, Inglewood is marching towards a new era. We're in a new era, right? And so we really believe that the things that we have to do moving forward have to match that expectation. And so that's where we're headed with our process.
one final question, for now anyway. You know I'm going to have more questions as we get along in this process. Commission input, you said you wanted. Now, at what point do you want the commission input? When you bring all of this to the commission, or are you inviting the commissioners to attend like community workshops and give their input from a commission standpoint? Or how do you want that to work?
So that's going to take place in a number of different forms. Right now, you know, if we have stakeholder meetings, obviously you can't be together, right, discussing these things, right? And so it could be, you know, individual meetings with our consultants. You know, you can come as a resident, you know, and we'll have to strategically plan how you guys attend these types of events. But then also in a public forum. Right, and we come and we present an overview as to where we are. We present our technical study to the commission, and then that provides you an opportunity to provide input on the data that was presented, kind of where we are and where we're looking to go based on the information that we've gathered from the community members, yourself, and the council. So it's a multi faceted process that, you know, would allow you to provide your input in both formally and informally.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good information, good questions. Commissioner Rice?
Thank you, Chairman. I want to make sure I get a definition of the difference between amendment and update. Because the update was really scary to hear that it was almost 40 years and we hadn't done anything with it. But it appears as if we amended certain elements of it along the way. Yeah. And this new update is we're hoping it will last for another, is it mandated that it has to be 25 years? I know you said 25.
Yeah, that's just generally the goal. Yeah, 25 years.
Okay. And when will the meetings for the stakeholders or community people begin?
We're in the process of gathering community stakeholders and reaching out and providing invitations so that we can reach out to those parties. We anticipate those meetings beginning in July, mid-July, and they'll run probably through August. And we'll have more meetings and pop-ups at, you know, some of the local events to kind of begin to share information or to continue to gather information. And you know, creating, you know, we've been working really closely with our social media department, Thomas Bunn and his group, and the level of creativity that has come out of those discussions have really got us excited about, maybe having a camera and just asking people, hey, what does Inglewood look like in 20 years to you, right? Asking a 10-year-old who will be 35, right, at the sunset of this document, what does Inglewood look like to you in 20 years? And and it could be, maybe it's the Jetsons, right? Maybe it's cars are flying all over the city, and and we have these, hundred. I don't know. It's just, I mean, but to be able to envision what the future looks like, right, in real time is an amazing process. And so, we get to activate not only the young people's imaginations, but also adults, your own. What do you envision this city looking like for your grandchildren and your great grandchildren, right? And
For ourselves.
and yourselves, right? And where and the fact that you have such a pivotal role in the development of that is such a powerful thing. I think it's really humbling, and so I hope that answered your question.
And your primary means of distribution or invite into the workshops for the community will be through distributing these QR codes, and people can sign up that way and express their interest?
Number of ways, mailers. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna try to meet people where they are. I mean, if it's through media advertisement, if it's through social media, Facebook, internet, flyers, we're gonna try to get out there and really try to have a really true grassroots effort in engaging the public.
And last question, which segment of the elements will speak to allowing people to transition from place to place throughout the city, creating additional parking and those types of things?
That would be a combination of the land use element and housing, or are you talking transitioning from via vehicle?
No, transitioning. Well, from one side of the town to the
So
other,
circulation.
and then being able to stop in town and shop and enjoy Inglewood downtown. Specifically, is one I'm concerned about.
Yeah, so that would be
in that area.
That would be the land use element, and then just kind of how people get there, and kind of getting through the traffic associated with the day-to-day activity would be circulation.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner
Fowler.
Fowler. I was thinking about Trejo.
Sorry. I
Thank you,
interrupted.
Mr. Chair. Thank you, sir. You mentioned a consultant. Did I hear PlaceWorks? Is that the name? What other projects have they worked with? I'm sure you interviewed a lot of people, so there's a reason you picked them.
PlaceWorks is a very well-respected consulting, land use consulting firm.
Yes.
Yeah, so, and they have a bunch of different segments within their organization that focuses on a number of different planning projects. They specialize in general plans, the environmental components, the EIR review, or the EIR development, which is going to be part of this process. But they've worked all over the country. I think it may be a little difficult for me to pinpoint exactly what cities they've worked for.
I wasn't sure if it was a statewide, countywide.
Yeah, but they're definitely a very well-respected firm.
Okay, you mentioned a marketing plan. When might that be shared with the commission?
Very soon. We're soon, very soon. We're excited about it. We're gonna be able to kind of unleash kind of our logos and our taglines and things like that with the upcoming Juneteenth flyers that we'll be handing out. That'll be one of our informal opportunities to engage, and so we'll be kind of in the, hitting the ground and handing out flyers and encouraging people to flip over and scan the QR code and begin that process of engagement. And so other aspects would be at the Inglewood Music Festival, and I hope I'm saying that right. But that would be another opportunity where we would unleash some of our marketing, our marketing plan.
So if the goal is to have an end-of-year plan, that's only 6 months away. So will we be getting, I guess I would be expecting some type of monthly status at our meetings on where we are.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem, but I do want to clarify. So we're not going to be giving you we're not updating the plan yet. So what we're going to be providing is
Collecting
the
the
study that the data that serves
Mhm.
of what as the foundation for the creation of
Okay.
the policies that will be created through the general plan update. So that's essentially
So
what
we
you
would
have.
then maybe at the status level be hearing some of the ideas or some of the things that
Correct.
people
So-
are saying that.
So instead of 3,000 pages, we'll give you 200.
Yeah.
Works for me. And electronic, please. I think that might be all my questions at the time. It's exciting. There's a couple of areas I'd really like to focus in on, and that's that noise and housing. But I won't take up the time tonight. Thank you so much.
Okay, Commissioner Trejo had another question, so we're going to ask her for a question.
Yeah, Inglewood has a large population of Hispanics, some of which don't speak English. Will you be having workshops in Spanish or with interpreters, or how are you going to be handling that?
Absolutely. Yes, we will. We want to be able to meet the needs of the whole community, right? And so in our written communication, we'll be providing it translated and as the primary language. And so I just want, not a secondary document, right? We want to make sure that, everyone feels a part and engaged, right? And so that's something that we've been really intentional about in our discussions with our consultants and in our process.
That's great to hear. So also, when you have the workshops, not only in your written documents that are in Spanish, in your workshops, you will have somebody making the presentation in Spanish.
Correct.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, very good presentation. I appreciate you guys actually coming out and doing this. I have a couple questions, and one of my questions has to do with your stakeholders. How do you obtain your stakeholders? Are these stakeholders, they are residents, I'm sure. Are you capturing them through past stakeholders, or are you generating new stakeholders?
Well, it will be a little bit of both. We've had over the past few years collected a pretty robust list of active community members, whether it's block clubs or churches or community leaders that could provide insight as to maybe some other people who may be interested in participating, as well as people who've signed up and have requested to be a part of some discussions through past projects, and so we will reach out to them as well. So we also are engaging council, and so then they are providing us also with some people who they believe would be interested in assisting in this project.
Would the commissioners be able to be a stakeholder in this as well?
Yes, you would be in a manner that would be consistent with what Robert's Rules of Order, right? The Brown Act. I'm sorry. The Robert's Rules of Order is the meeting, right? The Brown Act. So we definitely want to make sure that we follow that. So you would not be meeting as a group, but we would be able to meet you individually.
Now, you mentioned that this is actually going to be a study. You're going to be doing a study, and you have someone that you guys are hiring, some firm.
Hired.
You already hired them, past tense. So at this particular point, could the commissioners be involved? Because a lot of times what happens is that they do their study, but they're not asking the individual people or the commissioners, what are your views on certain items? So during this study period, is it possible that the commissioners and or staff can be a part of that study and listen and give our input on what we believe would be essential to the general plan?
Yes, so the development of the document is twofold. So what we have up here is so the technical analysis looks at kind of the existing situation, where the city stands today, right? And it focuses on those elements. It dives into the history and the culture, the population demographics, the built environment, infrastructure, public services and facilities, natural environment and noise, the economy and jobs, right? And then where you become critical is in the next phase, in the visioning component of it. And so that's where your input becomes critical as we begin to shape the policies that will become a part of this document in the next phase, in mile 17 and 18 of the marathon. So, so that's kind of where we are right now. And so that's why your input would be critical as we move into this phase of the project.
Okay. Now, Commissioner Trejo indicated, she asked the question in regards to when the study would be complete. You said it's further down the road, probably about the end of the year or maybe next year. Prior to that being completed, we would have an input to those documents prior to the completion of it. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, your input will go into the development of the visioning statement that will be a part of the technical review analysis that we will present to you at the end of the year.
Okay,
So
correct.
yeah, so it's a part of all things are kind of muddled together to create what that vision looks like and those policies.
Okay. Now, you indicated, you did, about something happening on the 15th, so a jazz something or another?
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
The Juneteenth celebration. I believe we're having Juneteenth on Market Street. June 16th. Yes, Sunday, Father's Day. So this is a
Sunday on Father's Day.
June 16th.
So it's June 16th?
yeah.
You're having,
What? This
you're
is
having an event.
yeah. This is a Commissioner Rice's group is having an event. So now, hey, pump it up, pump it up,
I
Commissioner.
know
Now,
that day, make sure everyone comes out Juneteenth. Father's Day, Market Street.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, Father's Day rock.
And also, what's the date for the music festival?
June 29th.
June 29th, the music festival. I think they're probably around the same times, like 11 to 7 or so.
So this
Every
June,
part.
at the store on the 16th, is that at the park or on Market Street?
That's on Market Street.
Trying to revive Market Street.
Main
And
Street, right.
planning department is going to be out there passing out information, QR codes, the whole deal.
Yes, yes,
Correct.
we'll have some flyers that will be handing out to the public and.
Okay, so I like to make a suggestion for you. Papers, not really good. I mean, it's good. Look at it. They're there to listen to the music, eat a little food, do a little dancing, that kind of thing. That's what normally you come out to celebrate. Now, each district has its own meetings that they have for district meetings. So I would like to see that we can go out to District 1, District 2, 3, 4, when they have their district meetings and do the presentation at that location. And that at that meeting, our primary concern would be about our overview of the general plan, not have a discussion on, because when we go to these meetings, we're talking, everybody has a show, everybody has a piece in the meeting. And sometimes we get lost in that meeting because it's so many presentations being done. If we can concentrate on this at our town hall meetings, I think it'll be great, because you come there with the idea that we're only going to talk about this particular subject. Because Chris is there and he's give his presentation. He's at the end. He should have been first. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be critical of anyone else. I just think that it's too many people, because you're trying to get everyone to say something about what's happening in the city, and which is well and good, but sometimes we miss it. And sometimes people miss things as well because the presentations are so long. So that's my take.
Yeah, and certainly agree, 100%. And part of what we're doing, obviously, in this outreach component is to begin the process of getting individuals, residents, business owners, and by the way, the stakeholders are comprised not only of residents, but business owners as well. And individuals have interest in the city, both short and long term. So to your point, part of participation is just to make sure we have the opportunity to be seen, right? So Juneteenth, the music festival, there are going to be a lot of things going on. I agree with you 100%. But having a presence there will be important because there will be individuals who will have an opportunity to be engaging staff, engaging our consultants to begin that dialogue and have that discussion. When we start to focus on, really focus on the particulars of the general plan update, we're already reaching out to mayor and the council to have that discussion about how we can best do that district to district. So mayor would obviously cover citywide, but district to district as well, districts 1 through 4. Some districts, as you know, are a little bit more aggressive in terms of having town halls, having discussions with individual council members on how best to do that, and whether or not the blended approach is the best approach. Because I see exactly what you're saying, because we've spent a lot of time with each other, and really being able just to focus on those things. And we'll make those decisions based on our conversation with the mayor and the council.
Okay, very good. Okay, we've done a good job. I think you guys have answered a lot of our questions, but I'm going to open it up for any additional questions from our commissioners. And we're going to start on the other end, since I got her name in my brain. Commissioner Fowler, we're going to start with you this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I appreciate what has been presented. I have no further questions.
Commissioner Rice.
Just reminding everyone once again, Music Festival, Darby Park, June 29th. I believe it's 11 to 7.
Those are questions for, now we can do that.
Reminding.
Okay.
And I'm going to close here so that way I won't come back. Juneteenth Festival, Market Street, June 16th, 11 to 7. Thank you. See you guys there.
Commissioner Trejo.
Throughout this process, are you considering incorporating the Century Boulevard bridge? I call it the bridge, it's the freeway. Doing an update, putting lights in on the Century Boulevard. I know we had a workshop on Century Boulevard. What do I want to call it? You were there too. The
ULI. The ULI study.
Yes, that one. Are you considering, well, I want you to consider, I would like for you to consider that ULI, Urban Land Institute, thank you, study that was done at least a couple of years ago, and they had some wonderful recommendations for the lighting of that bridge that is pitch black, whether it's at night or whether it's during the day. We've kept the homeless away from there, but nevertheless, it's pitch black and it is dangerous. So I really would like to see in maybe the safety element or in the environmental justice, any of those elements, you can incorporate that in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of the reason why we haven't gone full throttle on attacking some of the recommendations from the ULI committee was that we knew that we were going to be embarking on this heavy lift with the general plan update. Mm-hmm. And so it would almost be kind of pulling the cart before the horse. We wanted to put in the policies and implementations and then follow it up with comprehensive land use zoning code changes that would then allow for the ULI recommendations to be implemented. So
that's good to hear. Very good to hear. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Good question. Commissioner Shaw Williams.
I have a question. Does Inglewood have a Spectrum channel? I ask that because I don't have Spectrum. I have DirecTV.
I have.
I'm sorry, you have to use your microphones.
Use your microphone.
So we do have a Spectrum channel.
I think it's 35.
35, yes.
I think it's 35 on Spectrum. Yeah, and that's an all-access panel, and there's always, as I understand, content being broadcast through that channel. Because I know Thomas Bunn in our video team uses it pretty actively. Yes.
Okay, so are you considering using Spectrum, throwing that QR code up and prior, not just putting it out there, but explaining what's going on?
I'm gonna tell you, you be using the wild boards.
Oh,
We're gonna be
okay.
using the form boards.
All
We're gonna be using Spectrum. We really want to create, like, we want to show that we're committed to engaging the community. And so through the use of these QR codes, through, short web links, people can see it. They're like,
Right.
what is that? Now, I can't tell you what that's going to look like yet. We're going to present it real soon. You're going to see it and you're going to love it.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, that, it's going to be something that's going to catch everyone's attention. And hopefully, it's going to be exciting enough for people to really want to have a voice in the development of it. So we're excited.
I know there was an emphasis on the wild boards, but we also have our other community partners, SoFi Stadium, the Intuit Dome, that are all, and we're going to try and put these advertisements in places where people are going to be engaging them and seeing them and being reminded to participate. We're going to track. We're going to track what our involvement looks like. I want to be able to communicate to both the Plan Commission as well as City Council, what our efforts in terms of outreach has resulted in. Normally, and I did the general plan for the city of Whittier back in 1992. So that's why I'm loving sitting here watching Bernard and the team do their thing. I did it by myself as a senior planner over a 1.5-year process for updating the Whittier general plan, and watching and hearing and talking about how we're engaging this. The Placework team is excited about the opportunity of really being engaged with the community. So not a document that's just going to be handed over, but actually a living document that's going to have it just as much as what we accomplished with Hollywood Park, where when Hollywood Park specific plan showed up years ago, the public was already aware. They knew, they understood what it was going to be. There wasn't a lot of that discussion going back and forth because they were actually involved in the creation of what we know as Hollywood Park now, absent SoFi Stadium and some of the bigger venues, but just what that was going to feel like. And so we're excited about being able to bring that forward. And on the marketing side, we have some real cool stuff that's going to begin to brand us in terms of how we're looking at the city long term. And, a lot of folks ask that question, yeah, you got SoFi, yeah, you got Intuit, but what about the other parts of the city? What are you doing in downtown? What are you doing in the southern portion of the city, the northern portion of the city? And we're going to be able to speak to those questions and be able to answer them in a comprehensive way. So I want to make sure that we're being accountable to the business owners, to the residents, to all the stakeholders in this city. And at the end of the process, now remember, I'm going to reiterate this. First part, technical background. Mile one, where are we, right? Before you can start projecting where you want to go in the future, you need to really understand where we are right now. And we've changed and morphed so much. We did do a technical background study, what was that, 10 years ago, in preparation for the general plan then. That never happened, but thanks to the efforts and the energy of this commission, as well as our mayor and our city council, we're now in a position to pay for it. So this is a multi-million-dollar undertaking. We're spending millions of dollars so that we can have a comprehensive plan and be able to address these issues in a holistic way. We've done it. I think we've done a really good job, spot by spot. But now we need to bring it together and be able to see where we are going to be. I really see this kind of taking root, even though we're talking about 25 years. Year 10, year 15, that's where you're going to really start to see the results of it. Connectivity with multimodal, where the bike lanes, the transportation, the ITC project, how we're going to link things together, how we're going to create this holistically in our 9 square miles, the entire city, not just one part of it. So,
Very good, very good. Okay. Oh, we have another question?
I just wanted to add on to something Chris said. It is the visionary part that is the exciting part, because I didn't hear a mention of it, but even though it's just 9 square miles, we have other governmental entities that they need to know we're working on our general plan. What do they see? How can that help support what we're trying to do from a vision standpoint?
absolutely. Yeah, and just to that point briefly, we're transforming as a nation in terms of how we're addressing issues. Climate change is affecting us, and how we're being resilient in those areas is very important. But things like our partners like SCE, with energy and moving towards, reducing greenhouse gas emissions and how that is. So all of our partners, we talked about animal control, bringing them in and having a robust discussion about how we address these issues and how we're attentive to the problems and the issues and the concerns that we have here in this city. Sometimes we get lost, and we have in the past. Not anymore. We're now making sure that there is that discussion that's going to go on, and we will at least be able to have a foundational understanding on how we address these issues and how we move forward as a city. So I agree 100%.
Very good. Okay, we're going to move right along. Public comments. Anyone wishing to address the Planning Commission on any matters within their jurisdiction and not elsewhere considered on the agenda may do so at this time. Hearing, seeing none, we're going to close this segment, and then we're going to have our commissioners' initiatives. We're going to start off with Commissioner Fowler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm happy to report that District Council Member Gloria Gray will be holding her all-commissioners meeting on Wednesday, June the 12th, and her community meeting at the ICOP Center will be on Wednesday, June 27th, from 5:30 to 7:30. So all residents of District 1 are welcome to meet with the councilwoman then. There are several awareness items celebrated in June, though the ones that often get the most attention include Black Music Month, LGBTQ and Pride Month, PTSD Awareness Month, Men's Health Month, gentlemen, Gun Violence Awareness Month, Father's Day, and Juneteenth. But most importantly for me is graduation. From pre-K to college, the excitement and joy of achievement accomplished on the faces of students, families, friends, and educators is just a powerful message about the hope for the future. I was honored to be a graduation speaker at Joseph Whitney. It's a disability magnet. I just can't tell you, seeing the faces of those students graduating was just powerful. In all cases, it's a reminder of the work still needed to deliver the full promise of America for every American, to live a life with equity, dignity, protection, and freedom. So have a fabulous June, Inglewood.
Commissioner Rice?
No further comments.
I can't believe that. Commissioner Trejo?
I want to report something that I previously reported. It's the tire shop on not quite the corner, but it's on the northeast side of Century. It's on Century Boulevard. Cross street is Inglewood Avenue. They have a storage of tires that are up both in the back which faces the alley, and the part that faces Century Boulevard. And tires are stacked up really high. It's dirty, very dirty, and there are tire rims there that are just haphazardly stacked up. But it's the tires in particular that I worry about that could catch fire or something. I had previously reported it, and I think Eddie had gone out, and they cleaned it up for a bit, and now it's just as bad.
we'll have our code enforcement, I'll have our code enforcement manager, Mr. Jerry Tucker, follow up on that. And we'll send you an update as well on what the
Okay.
status is.
Great, thank you. And then I want to wish all the fathers, grandfathers, uncles, brothers, a happy Father's Day this Sunday. Y quisiera decirles feliz Día de los Padres a todos los papás, los tíos, los primos, los hermanos. Feliz Día de los Padres.
Okay. Commissioner Shaw Williams?
I thought you said something, Ben. Okay. Yes, I also like to wish the fathers and happy Father's Day, brothers. You know, sometimes the fathers are not always celebrated like they should be, you know, and we do appreciate our fathers and we love our fathers. So I lost my father in '87, so I always try and honor him every day, you know, in some way, form, or fashion. Okay, and also, don't forget, June 29th is the Inglewood Festival at Darby Park. I believe the doors open at 10 a.m. It is 11 to 7 p.m. So get there early so you can get your spot and get your parking. And that's it. I have nothing else. Thank you.
Yeah, I also want to add on that, I believe there's a registration on that as well. They're asking for registration, so
Okay.
so they can get a, you know, count of
many
individuals that are going to
people?
be there. Yes.
Is that on our website?
It's on the website,
Okay.
correct.
No further comments?
I didn't know that the Derby Festival is on the 29th of June?
Yes.
Wow. I wanted to make an announcement for the 29th of June, and it is our annual home fair. And that home fair, the acronym is Home Ownership Made Easy. And what it is we do this every year at our real estate board, the Consolidated Board of Realtors, which is located at 3725 Don Felipe in Los Angeles. And the only reason I'm mentioning it that it's in Los Angeles because I'm a member, one of the past presidents of that organization. And I'm a resident of the city of Inglewood. So I wanted to make that announcement that this home fair has been going on for the last 21 years, 22 years. This will be the 22nd annual. We didn't do it during COVID, but it's an annual event that we do every year. And we have an opportunity for people to come out to learn about the different programs that are available for you for home ownership. So if you're interested, you can go to our website, which is crb.com, and you can register online. If you want to do the festival, you can do the festival after the home fair. Because I think the festival doesn't start until 1 or 2 o'clock, right?
11.
Oh. And ours is over at 1, so you have plenty of time to come to the Derby Festival. I want to make a comment on a couple of things that are happening in Inglewood. We've had our trees trimmed on Fifth Avenue between Century and Manchester on both sides, on east and west sides of the street. I want to commend the city for taking care of that. The tree that I have in front of my house, I don't know the name of it, but it produces purple bulbs. And you know what kind of tree that is, Art? But right now, it has, normally we get this color in about April, sometimes middle, sometimes February, March or April. And now we're getting them and we're in June. Is it climate change?
Yes.
Could it be that the tree is dying? Can you have someone, I can give you my address after this and you could have somebody come out, take a look at it. But I just want to commend the city council on the city blossoming, growing. There's a lot of things, a lot of activities are going on. We get a lot of comments. I was in Orange County last month, and someone asked me, where do you live? and I proudly said I live in the city of Inglewood. And then not only did I get a lot of attention, I had people coming over to me asking me how could they get into SoFi Stadium for the football games? I'm like, really? I said, if we can sell you a house in the city of Inglewood, if you're really interested. But it was such a warm reception that I received, and this was in the city of Orange, that the city of Inglewood is blossoming. We have the Intuit Dome going up pretty soon, opening. I think they're going to do the city address there. If you didn't get your tickets, you can get them now. And SoFi is their first football game is coming up soon. So the city of Inglewood is really a good city to live in right now. And I'm looking for the future with the new plans that we have. I just want to be a part of it. 25 years from now, I still want to be a part of it. If I'm not here, I just wish the person that takes this seat will have the same vision as the commissioners on this dais has right now.
May I piggyback on what you just said?
You can.
I was in Boise, Idaho, a couple of weeks ago for my niece's graduation. And afterwards, we were being tourists, and we were at a dam, and you run into people, and hi, what have you seen so far? And then somebody said, oh, where are you from? And I proudly said, I'm from Inglewood. And the gentleman said, oh, I'm from Alhambra. He said, you're where SoFi is, right? And I go, yeah, that's where we're from. So yes. Everybody knows Inglewood now.
Yeah, they know us. Really good job. If there's nothing else.
One other thing I want to give our city attorney an opportunity to share some information with you as well.
The city attorney's office is hosting a meeting of the Los Angeles County Prosecutors Association next week. So it's composed of the 13 cities in LA County that prosecute misdemeanors and the LA County District Attorney's Office. And afterwards, we're hoping to get a tour of Hollywood Park for everybody.
Hey, cool.
So how do we be a part of that? How can
You have to be a prosecutor.
we're prosecuting these? So, Mr. Pan, you told us that because you wanted us to. You're inviting us, or you're just telling us for information?
Informational purposes.
Would you be able to take photos and that kind of stuff there and share with us? Okay, very good. Okay. If there's nothing else, it's been a great meeting. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good Father's Day. And the 4th of July, we have a meeting before the 4th, Mr.
On the 3rd.
We love you guys that much that we want to see you before the 4th of July. Yeah, because we figure we'll have some commissioners' initiatives on that day, I'm sure.
There's nothing else. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.